I am a songbird.
YouTuber and friend of mine, Nikocado Avocado, recently uploaded a video detailing his experience with hypoglycemic symptoms on a fruit-based diet. Nikocado has transitioned from a fruitarian diet to a diet including a variety of raw and cooked plant foods, and has noticed many benefits, such as feeling more balanced, not becoming dizzy, hungry, and low energy after meals, improvements in strength and endurance during exercise, and an overall better sense of well-being. When I watched this video on hypoglycemia, there were several things that stood out to me, and I thought that I could help in explaining this reaction. While we cannot know exactly what was happening during these periods of physical distress, the symptoms that he was experiencing actually make perfect biological sense when considering the nutritional composition of fruit and how it's metabolized by the body. This video will hopefully provide some scientific insight and serve as a warning against adoption of a restrictive fruitarian diet. This video is not against fruit in general, as inclusion within a balanced plant-based diet is very beneficial. Instead, we will discuss how relying on fruit as the sole source of nutrition is unwise when considering long-term health and well-being. The category of food that fruitarians eat the most of is, of course, fruits. While some fruitarians also include colorful vegetables, dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and avocados into their diet, many do not, and the bulk, if not all of their food is fruit-focused. With any food, we want to know what's in it, so we know which nutritional requirements it fulfills and which it doesn't. While fruit provides some vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, they by no means provide all nutritional materials if other food groups are rejected. The Health Promotion Program at the Columbia University reports that a fruitarian diet can cause deficiencies in calcium, protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, most B vitamins, which are essential in energy reactions, especially vitamin B12, and essential fatty acids. Another concern in fruits is that while they do contain fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, and K, they're not accompanied by much fat to allow these vitamins to absorb. Since a fruitarian diet is often intentionally low fat, these vitamins will not be properly absorbed and excreted from the body. Moving on to how fruit is digested and metabolized now. Whole fruit spends very little time in the stomach before moving into the small intestine, a process called gastric emptying. Gastric emptying is delayed by foods containing protein, as stomach acid and the enzyme pepsin must begin breaking down the protein into smaller chains and amino acids, and food containing fat has a slowing effect on the movements of digestion. Now, because fruit contains very small amounts of protein and fat, average gastric emptying will occur only within 30 minutes. Not only is the consumer likely to feel hungry shortly following a meal of fruits, the high-calorie and quickly digestible nature of fruit has other impacts on organs and reactions that may be responsible for Nikocado's symptoms. Food containing carbohydrates are given the most attention in the small intestine, as this is where the final breakdown, absorption, and transport of the sugars occurs. If, say, a large monomeal of fruit is consumed and arrives in the small intestine quickly, the body has a lot of work to do to deal with the calories that are accompanied with less than ideal amounts and types of vitamins and minerals. I'm going to explain how these nutrients are metabolized shortly, but first I wanted to talk about a popular meal of fruitarians that can make metabolic workload even greater. We have to talk about smoothies. Smoothies? Innocent, delicious, sweet smoothies? How could they possibly be bad? We always hear how easily digestible they are, and that's actually where the problem lies. When whole fresh fruit is blended with water or fruit juice, the fiber is dispersed into a higher volume and highly absorbable food that travels through the digestive tract even faster than its whole food parent. It bypasses mastication, the action of the mouth and teeth, to grind the food into a soft state called a bolus, and alert the body that food is on its way to the stomach. When in the stomach, it takes no time at all to empty because of the high water content and, again, the low amount of protein and fat, which, as we talked about before, prolong gastric emptying. All of a sudden, this highly sweet, fiber-diluted, water-rich smoothie is in your small intestine and being absorbed much more rapidly than if a whole fruit is consumed. Whether it's large amounts of whole or blended fruit, the body is required to react rapidly, and this can put stress on organs that must produce materials for these reactions. First and foremost, the liver, as sugar must first travel to the liver to be allowed into general circulation. You can think of the liver as a gatekeeper that prepares nutrients before they travel to other parts of the body. Next organ is the pancreas, which produces insulin to allow glucose into our cells. Our blood vessels that expand as water follows sugar to keep proper osmotic balance and pH. The urinary system, again, to keep proper osmotic balance and pH. And cells that must burn or store the calories as glycogen or fats. Processes which are catalyzed by vitamins and minerals, in particular B vitamins for energy reactions, which are not plentiful in fruits. All of these systems and many others must do their required actions, but faster than normal because the workload is so unexpected and full of energy that the body must now manage. Concentration of sugar within the plasma, or blood glucose, is tightly regulated in the body as it affects blood pH, osmotic equilibrium, electrolyte balance, and many others that are critical in proper functioning of every molecule, cell, and organ. The body can react quickly to sudden workloads to protect you, but this can put unnecessary stress and outsource valuable stores of nutrients in order to handle a nutritionally inadequate and fast-coming delivery. This is the typical response to food consumption, but in high speed. All your cells and organs did their job to protect your body from suffering damaging changes in pH, osmotic and electrolyte balance, and used its own vitamin and mineral stores to get the sugar into the cell to be burned or stored because the fruit itself did not supply enough of these catalyzing micronutrients. And afterwards, just like me after spewing all that out, it is exhausted. Feelings of dizziness, fatigue, and mood imbalances are all pretty predictable. There would have been a point of hyperglycemia, high blood sugar, as the large amounts of whole fruit or fruit smoothies are rapidly digested and absorbed, and then hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, as the body overreacts to deal with this sugar before it causes dangerous problems. These are symptoms that diabetics suffer from, and you guessed it, some fruitarians. If you follow Nikocado Avocado's channel, you know why his channel bears that name. In the beginning, Nikocado was able to recover from illness and lose weight on a fruit-based lifestyle, but as time went on, he began having increasingly worsening symptoms that he found to improve when he increased his fat intake. His fat-rich food of choice being, of course, avocados. Now, there are several reasons why inclusion of avocados helped Nikocado out. Think back to what I said about gastric emptying. It is delayed by foods containing fats, because fat influences hormones that act on the muscular movements of the GI tract. We call this peristalsis. Slowing down digestion allowed him to feel fuller for longer and better moderate absorption of sugars. A love for avocados was born because they helped Nikocado's body better handle the glycemic workload of his high-fruit diet. But dietary improvements did not stop there, as Nikocado was open to adopting more changes to properly care for his body. After a 6-year run with a fruitarian diet, Nikocado decided to incorporate cooked plant-based whole foods into his diet, finding complete resurrection of his health and disappearance of negative symptoms. How could such a thing be possible if a fruit-based lifestyle is the optimal diet, according to self-proclaimed health gurus? Well, it comes down to nutrition. The optimal diet for humans is a diet that supplies both macro and micronutrients in a way that is not taxing on the body. A diet that supplies rich amounts of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to catalyze energy reactions of calorie-containing foods like fat, protein, and carbs, and has fiber to regulate absorption. A diet that prioritizes microdense foods like dark green leaves, other vegetables, and also includes legumes, starches, grains, nuts and seeds, and yes, fruits. Nikocado Avocado is now eating a balanced diet that is supplying more vitamins, more minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and all the other nutrients than a fruitarian diet was able to supply. The types of carbohydrates in beans, starches, and grains are more complex and are released more slowly into the bloodstream, better controlling glycemic responses. Because his diet is more complete and balanced, now he doesn't have to frequently eat and deal with spikes and crashes in blood sugar that affect energy levels, mood, and put stress on organs. Yet now, Nikocado is dealing with backlash from the raw food and fruitarian community for his decision to include cooked food and more plant-based food groups into his diet. People telling him that cooked food is toxic and addictive, and that he was already on the world's most optimal diet, so why would he leave it behind? We need to logically evaluate our dietary choices. While it's easy to just say fruit is best and all other plant foods are inferior, this is just not correct, justified, or responsible. It's an incredible power and gift that we can choose our state of health and happiness. You don't have to settle for feeling like crap and adding on to your health issues because other people are telling you what to do. So props to Nikocado for having the courage to share his experience, despite this dogmatic backlash, and compassion for people that are behind this backlash, because I understand it's difficult. Nutrition is a tough subject to study, and it can be easy to be misinformed. I'm not saying that all fruitarians experience what Nikocado did, or that it's wrong to care about his recent dietary modifications and voice your concerns. What I do think is important, though, is to look at your diet from a supply and demand perspective. And you can see that you might not be getting all the nutrition materials that your body needs if you only consume one food group. And you can put your body in serious compromise by doing so. I'm asking you guys to love yourself enough to be thoughtful about the choices that you make, and not to criticize others' choices because they're different from your own. There's always going to be someone that's more or less informed than you are, and by exchanging knowledge in a compassionate way, we can all learn how to best care for our bodies. If you have any questions or comments on this topic, please write them down below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Have a compassionate day, everyone, and see you next video. Bye.
Stretched were those heartstrings through Rockies and pines, bending across state lines.